Welcome to Pastor's Chat. We're looking at the book of Revelation, Revelations 1 and 2 especially, as we think about this book that reveals to us Jesus Christ coming in His glory to set up His kingdom, and especially describes the 7-year tribulation that takes place right before that second coming. We've been talking about this and the second coming of Christ. But other writers, not only John, but Paul, in 2 Timothy chapter 3 said, "But know this, that in the last days perilous times will come. For men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, brutal, despisers of good, traitors, headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying its power, and from such people turn away." And so Paul makes it clear that in the last times, in the last days, perilous times will come. Jesus, in his message, what we call the Mount Olivet Discourse, where the disciples had asked him when they looked at the temple and it was so beautiful and looked so great, and asked him what he thought about it, he said, "One day, and the day is coming, where every stone will be torn down, not one left on the other." And then they asked the question, when will these things be? And he gave his prophetic message in Matthew 24 and also in the Gospel of Luke chapter 21. And he talked about the tribulation and the great tribulation. He talked about in detail God's plan for the ages, God's plan for the tribulation and the end of times. And he said there'll be earthquakes in various places, famines, pestilence, fearful sights, great signs. And he says there'll be persecution. But then I think what else I wanted you to notice in verse 16, "You will be betrayed even by parents and brothers, relatives and friends, and they will put some of you to death." In the book of Matthew, when Jesus was speaking about this, he said, "You'll hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you're not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, and yet the time is not yet. For nations will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdoms, and there'll be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of sorrows." And then he also speaks about the fact that there will be lawlessness, and the love of many will grow cold. And many will be offended and betray one another and will hate one another. I'm telling you, Jesus said, Paul said, other writers, almost it seems like every writer of the epistles in the New Testament spoke of the fact that there is a time coming of tribulation. There is a time coming. And remember, we approach the Bible literally, and as we do that, we believe that that will take place. Now, as you read those verses with me and think about that, don't you believe that if the last times started even in the days of the Apostle Paul, and he was looking for the second coming of Jesus Christ, that we are living in the last of the last times, the last of the last times. These are perilous times. There is no loyalty, it appears, anywhere. Nations are rising up against nations. There's rumors of wars, earthquakes, pestilences. Have you ever lived in a time? I haven't. I'm sure there have been other times with the Black Plague and other viruses that have broken out. But I'm telling you, we live in a day of great fear. Men's hearts failing them, Jesus said, for fear. My friend, you and I do not have to let our hearts fail us, faint, and cause us to quit, throw in the towel because of fear, because God has given us a book, the book of Revelation, the entire Bible, that tells us in the end we win. Jesus is coming again for his church. Jesus said, "I will come again. I will come again." The two men standing in white apparel as Jesus went up into heaven said to the disciples, "This same Jesus shall so come in like manner." My friend, these are perilous times. These are times where people turn against each other, hate each other, times of bitterness, hurt, and pain. We live in a broken world, but my friend, even today, Jesus will come into your heart. He'll give you peace and change and transform your life if you'll but trust Him and put your faith in Him. That's my prayer today. God bless you, and you have a wonderful, wonderful day.